For this month's virtual Q&A, we're going to talk about your emotional body. The question that came in the comments section is, can you give examples of what core emotions are and how they show up in our bodies? So to get started, let's first understand what emotions are. Emotions are actually evolutionary signals that communicate messages to us and to those around us about how we're experiencing our current moment. And there are actually 6 core emotions. And these really map on to different pieces of information. We're going to go through them in a second. They map onto actually 2 pieces of information. They map onto sensations in our body. So how do we know that we might be experiencing or getting one of these different messages? So we're going to talk a bit about the different sensations for each core emotion, and then what that emotion might be communicating, or what those sensations might be communicating. So for anger, different ways anger might show up. And I'm saying this again intentionally because anger does look different for each of us. So I really want to suggest to all of you listening to explore for yourself, how do each of these feel in your bodies? You might notice slight differences than, of course, what this chart presents. Anger often, however, right, it shows up as tension. It might show up as heat in different areas of our body. A lot of times in our face or our upper body, we feel an actual heat. We might even turn red. A lot of times we tense too, tense our jaw. We might even tense our shoulders. So what message might be these sensations of anger signaling to us? Often, anger signals that we've had a boundary violation or that we're having an active need that might not being met in that moment. So what do we feel? We might feel angry or violated. All right, so sadness. How might sadness feel in our bodies? Sadness, we might feel a shift in our energy. Our energy might feel low. It might feel heavy. Maybe we even feel droopy. Our whole body might kind of turn forward, hunched shoulders. We might find it hard to smile. Smiling might not even be a thought in our mind. What message might sadness be sending us? Usually sadness is activated around a loss or an imagined loss or a perceived loss or a feared loss of anything, a person, an item, an experience. Whenever we experience a loss, usually we'll have those sensations of sadness happening in our bodies. So what about fear? Fear often increases our heart rate, again, increases our tension in our bodies. We might feel that similar clenching. Our breath might quicken as well. It's kind of an elevation in all of our systems in our body. So what message might fear be communicating? Usually fear is communicating a perceived threat to our safety. It might not be real. It could be imagined, but anytime we are fearful or we think our safety might be affected or we might become unsafe, we're usually going to see those sensations show up in our bodies. So what about joy or happiness? A lot of times that maps onto lighter sensations in our body, a lighter energy. We might feel even more alive, energy zipping through us. And of course, we might wear it on our face. We might naturally have a smile, or we might find it easier to smile. What messages are joy or happiness communicating to us? Usually of interest, of pleasure, of expansiveness. It's a signal that what we're experiencing feels good in some way or another. How about disgust? Disgust is usually, we can locate that in our stomach. Disgust is literally when we feel revolted by something, and oftentimes it's a sensation. We think of it when we eat something that doesn't taste good, that feeling. But of course, we could be disgusted in different ways. We could be disgusted by actions. We might feel like gagging. Our nose might wrinkle. Again, a lot of times we associate it with our stomach feeling upset. So what might disgust be communicating? Why might we have those sensations? Usually disgust is signaling that we have an aversion to something. There's something that's coming up that we don't like. There's a displeasure there. The taste might not resonate. The experience might not resonate. It's sending us a signal that whatever experiencing we're having in that moment, we're having an aversion to it. It's not resonating with us. So how about surprise? Different ways surprise might show up in our body. Our energy might begin to increase. Similar to fear, our heart rate might pick up. Our jaw, our eyes, we might be wide open. When we're surprised by something, it's an unexpected event or a violation of expectation. We're not expecting something to happen, so it surprises us. And a lot of times that looks like wide-eyed. We're taking in whatever that unmet expectation is or that surprise event. The more attuned we can be to our bodies, the more we can connect ourselves with the different messages that these emotions are sending. And again, all of these have evolutionary importance, right? Understanding things that might be offensive, things that might threaten my safety, ways my needs aren't met. All of these signals can help me move into the direction of finding safety, of identifying and meeting my needs, and of finding experiences that don't cause that aversion or that resonate with me. So how do we do the work? How do we begin to explore and identify these different signals? We first reconnect with our bodies. We get attuned to the different shifts and sensations. Begin to pay attention to your breath, your heart rate, your musculature tension. Those are great places to start tuning into the different sensations and the different changes that happen so that you can begin to see the different messages that your body might be sending you. I'd love to hear from you in the comments as you're beginning to explore these different core emotions in your body and these different messages that these core emotions are sending. What is coming up for you? Do you notice a particular emotion that your body tends to feel? A particular message that your body might be wanting you to hear from your experiences of your environment? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below.